Welcome to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. And now your host, Tim Johnson.
As Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics, Joe Alleva oversees the 7th largest college sports budget in the United States. We'll talk to Joe about the business of LSU athletics when we return on the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
Since 1919, we've designed and constructed hundreds of industrial plants, roads, ships, dams, and executed some of the most complex jobs in the world. In fact, our quality and dependability are legendary. Today, the legend continues as Brown & Root delivers engineering, construction, maintenance, and industrial specialty services throughout the U.S. and the world from our headquarters here in Louisiana. We are Brown & Root.
Passion, experience, safety. These are what set Arkell Constructors apart as a premier general contractor. At Arkell Constructors, our goal is to exceed our clients' expectations, whether it's commercial, industrial, or facility maintenance. We have the team and processes in place to provide a solution for you. To us, every project is a resume for our future. Arkell Constructors, the solution for your next building project.
For over a quarter century, Kelly's has operated with honesty, integrity, and above all, safety. Kelly's features a fleet of quality equipment operated by dedicated, safety-minded employees skilled in land clearing, above-ground right-of-way maintenance, vegetation control, station yard and manned facility maintenance, above-ground pipeline support, and more. Kelly's Industrial Services, where pipeline right-of-way maintenance gets done right.
Consumers and property owners with construction projects can have a successful result or regretful experiences that could have been avoided. Before any construction project, verify licensure of the contractor and check references. Scammers will claim to be insured or bonded, so always check first. Download our app, LA Contractor, from the Android or Apple Store. Visit our website, lacontractor.org, or contact the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. We're here to help before things go wrong. Hire a licensed contractor. It's the law.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Very pleased to be joined again by Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics at LSU, Joe Alleva. Buddy, welcome back.
It's great to be with you again, Tim.
Great, glad you're here. Let's start with the most obvious. This crazy flooding that we've seen in this region. What impact has this flooding had on LSU athletics?
Well, from a facility standpoint, we were very fortunate on campus that we had very little damage from the flood. Practically none, to be quite honest with you. But from a psychological standpoint, I've had 16 of our employees that lost their homes. And our coaches and our staff and our athletes have done a tremendous job of going out to those homes and helping people through this. Ripping out carpet and sheetrock and insulation, all that kind of stuff. Refrigerators you had to take out. So our staff has been really stressed and to the point that they're out there helping people, and that's what we've been trying to do.
And really is at a tough point for you guys in terms of the football season about to kick off, a very busy time of the year. Now, you mentioned the volunteer efforts of a lot of the student athletes and the coaches and the staffs. We've seen the volleyball team, we've seen the men's baseball team, we saw the LSU football team visiting one of the shelters. From the perspective of your student athletes, you must be very proud.
I'm so proud. I've never been more proud of our athletes and our whole staff. The way our whole staff and department have rallied around to help everybody, it's just been heartwarming. It really brings tears to my eyes to see what we've been able to do. And the athletes really appreciate going out and helping people. It's volleyball season right now. And Fran Flores has had her team out helping people every day and in the mornings and then going to practice in the afternoon. I mean, that's just remarkable what they're doing, and I'm just so proud of all of them.
Well, a big scare for all of us, right? There was that 24-hour period when we couldn't find or hear from Jim Hawthorne, the legendary voice of the Tigers, who's just retired. I know Michael Bonnet was all over social media calling for, and then so when he's finally found, and we saw the images of Michael Bonnet, sports information director, out there doing all the work that he did, that had to be a scary time for all of us as well, right?
We really didn't know if Jim was alive.
Right.
I mean, we were really scared. And you all know the story about him out there yelling and flagging down a boat to come pick him up. But, it's just an amazing story, and it's so sad that people have lost so many things and lost, so many valuables and their property. And I really feel for them, and it's really sad.
It's tough, and we're going to talk about the business impact of LSU athletics as we go through the show today, and obviously that's really what it's going to be about. But when you think about the psychological impact of LSU athletics, you think about the emotional impact of LSU athletics, we really got to see that over the last couple of weeks in a way that paints a clear picture on how critically important what you guys do is to this whole state.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's true. We have a really important role in this state, and by all these things that have happened, they're even more exacerbated this coming up season.
Right, and I think that with the excitement that exists around LSU football right now and the anticipation of what we both believe will be a pretty good season, I think that's pretty important. So let's jump into some of this. Now, you've been at LSU a little over 8 years now. Hard to believe, isn't it?
It's amazing. It's been fun.
Here's an interesting thing that I like to ask a lot of the executives who come on. What's the part of the job that you like the most, and what's the part of the job you find the most difficult? Well,
there's no question in my job, the most satisfying thing is to watch young people come in as young people and go out as adults and preparing themselves for the rest of their lives. That's really what our job's all about, is preparing young people for the rest of their lives. And when I see them succeed at that, whether it's professional sports or their graduation or going on and getting married and having a good life, that's what it's really all about to me. That's the most satisfying thing, without a doubt. I really enjoy my job, so I really don't have a lot of negative things. At LSU, one of the hardest things, though, I think, is dealing with people's expectations. The expectations are so high, and rightfully so. They should be high, because our program should produce champions. But I think that's probably the hardest part about it, is dealing with people's expectations.
Well, if you think about the balance of the two things you just talked about, right? Balancing the success of these young people in life with the expectation of the wins and the championships, right? That we spend so much time focused on winning conference championships, national championships, and the expectations that exist for the staff and the coaches and the athletes, that we probably don't spend enough time focusing on the success as individuals and as humans that these student athletes pursue. And that side of the story has been very impressive at LSU. Our graduation rates are up. Talk a little bit about the success as humans of these student athletes.
Well, to me, that's the most important part. Everyone wants to talk about wins and losses, and I know they're important, and believe me, I'm as competitive as you can be, okay? But at the end of the day, athletics provides opportunities for a lot of kids to go to college that wouldn't have that opportunity if it wasn't for sport. And one of the most disappointing things to me is when an athlete doesn't take advantage of those opportunities. We have so many resources at LSU to help these young people mature and develop. And to me, one of the greatest stories is Kenny Hilliard, a kid who played football here a few years ago.
Just saw him play against the Saints Saturday night in preseason football.
That kid is the most remarkable story. He wouldn't be embarrassed for me to tell you that he didn't come to school as the most prepared kid in the world academically, but he worked his tail off and graduated on time, and now he's given it a shot in the NFL, but he prepared himself for life and took advantage of the opportunity that athletics gave him. He's a tremendous role model. Yeah.
We see so many stories, Joe, about these young people who come here with the dream of playing professional sports, be it football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is. They don't prepare themselves, and it's not just at LSU, it's at all these universities. So when you see a story of a kid like Kenny Hilliard, who wasn't maybe as well prepared when they got here, but focused on the academic side while he was being very successful on the athletic side and prepared himself for life after football.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Because you know what? It's a very small percentage of people that can play professional sports. And even those that do don't do it very long, for the most part.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of life left after you're done playing, and you have to be prepared for that.
Let's take a break. We come back. We'll jump into the structure of the business. It's the 7th largest athletic budget in the country. It would be the 19th largest public corporation in Louisiana if you were actually a public corporation. So I want to talk about the business of LSU sports. We're visiting with Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics, Joe Alleva, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
It might be one of the most efficient, most effective methods of communications we've ever used.
What if I said that the American dream is alive and well, and that it exists for anyone willing to build it? That the power of a nation does not reside in its monuments, but in the hearts and minds of those who built them, and that the country's greatest heroes also wear hard hats. In today's America, it's not enough to dream about the future. You have to build it. Build your future at byf.org.
For more than 25 years, the TJC Group has been helping industry communicate and build relationships with communities, elected officials, and governmental agencies. We are the leading firm in the U.S. for the development, management, and facilitation of industry-based community advisory panels.
Whether you're building a new facility or you manage an existing business, let us put our community and governmental relations experience to work for you.
The TJC Group, facilitating solutions for business and industry.
Spidel's Florist was founded over 30 years ago. From my mom's kitchen, we have grown into one of the largest florists in this area. There's a sense in our community that you stick together, good times or bad, and oil and gas is part of that family. They're my neighbors, they're my customers, they're the person I'm sitting next to at church. If oil and gas is doing well, all of our businesses are doing well. We are Louisiana Oil and Gas.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Joe Alleva, Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics at LSU, is our guest. Joe, give our audience an overview of the current state of LSU athletics. Now, we're going to get into the budget specifics in a little while, but let's talk about structure of the department, programs, total number of employees, your key staffers. Talk about the overview of LSU athletics as a program.
Sure. You know, I think we're in really good shape right now. I've got about 275 employees, full-time employees, and then we have a lot of part-time employees, especially on weekends when we have football games. I am very blessed to have a terrific staff. I've got a guy named Mark Ewing. He's my CFO.
Been around a long time.
He's been at the university over 30 years. Right. He probably has more institutional knowledge about finances than anybody on campus. Right. Mark's great. I've got Verge Osbury, played football at LSU. He's been terrific, great in the community, a great guy.
Handles a lot of the scheduling for
He handles
football, right?
a lot of the nitty-gritty scheduling work of making the phone calls and doing all that. I've got Miriam Seeger, another LSU graduate. All of these three people all have graduated from LSU, Mark, Verge, Miriam. Miriam's my senior women's administrator in charge of all women's sports and deals with our athletes on a continual basis. Anything that they need, she basically helps them with. Bo Bonson, a critical guy in charge of compliance. Right. Compliance is really important. You got to do things right, and you can't have the NCAA knocking on your door. And Bo does a great job.
Let me speak to that just quickly, because one of the things I have done for a long, long time, as you know, is be part of what's called the LSU Jobber Program, where LSU football players and the compliance around that and the attention that Bo and his team pay to ensuring that that program is run the right way. That attention to detail is something that is impressive to watch. One of the things I can tell you is that the LSU athletic department and football program is not likely to get in any trouble because of that football jobber program.
Well, and that's where a lot of schools do get in
Right.
trouble.
That's right.
So, you know, and Bo is another LSU graduate. And I've got Eddie Nunez. Eddie Nunez is in charge of operations, game operations. I've got him doing a lot of different things. He's the only one on my staff, my senior staff, that's not an LSU graduate. And I've got Ronnie Halliburton, another LSU football player, that is in charge of all of our facilities. So, you know, what's really great is I've got all those people, except for Eddie, that are LSU graduates. They bleed purple and gold. They love the place, and they're tremendous workers and great representatives of LSU.
I play a little basketball with Eddie in a ancient athletes league on Wednesday nights every now and then, and you know, he's a Florida graduate, former Florida LSU, basketball player, but I think he's been here long enough now that we can consider him part of the purple and gold.
Absolutely,
right?
he's about 11 years I think he's been here now.
And you got Michael Bonnet and his team that do such a great job, the video production group, it just really is impressive. Now, I was doing some research as I was preparing for the show, and one of the things I've mentioned is that I saw these rankings that came out on the 2015 athletic budgets, and it had LSU ranked about 7th in terms of overall size of the athletic budget. It was based on revenue, just under $139 million. I'm assuming that number's close to accurate. I mentioned that if you were a public corporation, you'd be the 19th largest public corporation in the state of Louisiana. Talk about that budget, the athletic budget, and the growth and what you are seeing from that perspective.
Yeah, you know, I've been in this business a long time, and budgets have really grown. And they've grown because of television. Television revenue is what really made it grow. And, you know, this year we're going to take in our distribution from our conference, which is mainly all television money, is about $40 million.
That's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And
I can remember just a few years ago getting that it was $18 million, and everybody was astounded at that figure. And now we're talking about $40 million.
Yeah, it's about $40 million. And of that, about $13 million comes from the new SEC network. And those are the things that have really changed athletics. But, you know, I'm also proud of the fact that we're giving a lot more back to the student athletes now. They can get cost of attendance. Cost of attendance is about $5,000 that they get a year to just cash that they can put in their pocket. We feed them incessantly. I mean, we feed them so much, I don't know how they eat that much, but they can get food throughout the day. We have 3 fueling stations on campus, in the 2 weight rooms and 1 in the academic center, where if you're an athlete, you can go in there and basically get food all day long. So we take good care of them. We have great doctors for them, and all the resources they could ever imagine to have. So I think that's a really good part of where that money's going.
This SEC network is really transforming the conference overall too, in a lot of different ways, not just from a competitive standpoint, an exposure standpoint, a money standpoint, as you've mentioned. Do you see that continuing to grow? I mean, what's next for the SEC network?
Well, the thing is, the success has been unbelievable. We have almost 100% distribution throughout the country, which is unbelievable. Yeah. You know, we were anticipating maybe 70% distribution. So as far as a dollar amount, I don't see the revenue going up because we're already in almost every home in the country. But the thing is, it gives you such great exposure, not just for your revenue sports, football, basketball, and baseball, but all the other sports, you know, volleyballs and
soccer,
all
women's softball.
It's terrific.
Right.
Softball's a huge sport. So, you know, from a standpoint of helping us recruit, not only recruit athletes, but recruit regular students to come to our campuses, I think the network has been tremendous.
King Alexander says that he's been on the show, that athletics really is the front porch of the university. We got about a minute left, 30 seconds or so. So let's just talk briefly about LSU athletics' overall impact on the state and regional economies. I know it's huge.
Well, you know, it's funny, about a couple years ago, TAF, our fundraising organization, did an economic impact study. And believe it or not, for the 7 home football games, the economic impact on the state of Louisiana and this region is around $300 million.
And that's just the football games.
That's just
We're not
football.
talking about baseball, basketball, all the others.
Right.
It's just amazing. We got a lot more I want to talk about. We come back in the 3rd segment, including higher education funding, the support that LSU athletics gives back to the academic side of the university, which I think is critically important. We're visiting with Joe Alleva. He's the Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics at LSU, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
promoting workplace safety and family wellness. That's our motto at Gulf Coast Occupational Medicine. The Gulf Coast staff is made up of some of the most knowledgeable and hardest working medical professionals in Louisiana. We care about your safety and your bottom line. With 8 convenient locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, our services include injury management, physical exams, medical surveillance, and substance abuse testing. For more information, visit us on the web at gcombr.info and ride the wave to safety.
For more than 20 years, the TJC Group has been helping companies assess their training needs and to develop programs that improve the effectiveness and productivity of their teams.
Training doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. Let us put our experience and expertise to work for you.
The TJC Group, facilitating solutions for business and industry.
What if I said that whatever good things you build you? And that in this economy, sweat never loses its value. What if I said that there isn't a challenge in the world too great for a craft professional with the right tools, and that the steps that lead from where you are to where you want to be can only be built by you? Build your future at byf.org.
Keene Miller traces its roots to the dawn of the petrochemical industry in Louisiana. As the legal needs of the sector grew, our firm emerged as a leader in environmental law, economic development, real estate, employment, utilities regulations, and more. Today, these same clients and those new to our state continue to rely upon the firm and its attorneys for creative ideas, practical advice, and Louisiana know-how. Industrial strength law. Learn more at keenemiller.com.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Joe Alleva, Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics, is our guest. We've talked about the budget and the impact that LSU athletics has on the economy, but higher education funding is getting squeezed all over the United States, and particularly it's been squeezed in Louisiana. You guys do a great job giving back to the academic side of the university. You guys, I don't know what the exact total is, but it's several $1 million a year. Talk about that support, talk about higher education funding, and talk about balancing the growth of athletic budgets in an age where academic budgets are being squeezed.
Well, you know, there is definitely a quandrum there between the two things, okay? And what we have is an opportunity to give back to the university, mainly because of that television money that I was talking about earlier. This past year that ended June 30th, we gave back $11 million and last year we were able to give back $10 million. So I'm really proud of that. And you know, there are a lot of schools that can't do that. There are many, many schools in this country where athletics is funded by the university.
Right. And that's a critical point to make, Joe, right, is that LSU athletics gets $0 state dollars. Right?
$0 state dollars and no student fees.
Right.
And that's not true of most schools. What we're able to do here is really unique. And it really is tremendous that we can help the university the way we do.
Particularly in these tough times. Now, we think about the work that's been done on investment in facilities at LSU, and really, if you think about the football stadium's expansion, you think about the practice facility, you think about the new weight room, you think about the new basketball practice facility. We got the finest baseball facility in the country. We got the finest softball facility in the country. We now arguably have the finest tennis facility in the. Talk about investment in those facilities, what you've done over the last few years, and maybe what's on the horizon.
Yeah, I'm really proud of what we've been able to do facility-wise. You know, one of the things that you always like to do is leave a place better than when you got here, and I know that we're doing that. You forgot to mention gymnastics.
Oh, that's
Our gymnastics
exactly.
facility is maybe the finest in the world.
Right.
That's how good that is. I'm really proud of all those facilities, and you know what it does? It helps you attract students here, and that's what we're trying to do, is attract the best student athletes we can to come here.
I know you just had another expansion of the football weight room, maybe now the best in the country as well. That football operations center is spectacular. There are some other things planned for Tiger Stadium as well. Talk a little bit about some of the things you might be doing. There might be a little bit more sort of behind the scenes kind of things, but I know they're good.
One of the things that we're going to do is build a nutrition center for all of our athletes, and that'll be housed in Tiger Stadium in the south end zone. You've probably heard that we're going to do some renovations to Tiger Stadium, but mainly they're going to be restrooms, concession stands, things like that that just make the fan experience better.
Game day experience.
Game
kind of
day
thing,
experience
right?
better.
Really good stuff.
Really important for the fans.
Well, I'm going to tell you that south end zone expansion is absolutely fabulous. It's beautiful to sit there and watch. It looks great on television when you see it as well. I know that that's something that you and the TAF are very proud of. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming season. Now, we start with another one of these neutral site games. You and I were talking before we started taping today about how excited we both are to go to Lambeau to play Wisconsin. But these neutral site games that we've started a number of seasons with, they're important not just from a recruiting standpoint, they're revenue generate. Talk a little bit about the business proposition of these neutral site games.
Well, they're good business opportunities for us. So we make a significant amount of money, and we don't have to pay a visiting team to come in and play us. Right. So from that standpoint, they're financially very good for us. But they're also good because we play good teams. And there are not many really good teams that like to come into Tiger Stadium that are not in our conference.
That's right. That's right.
They don't like to do that. So they feel better playing us at a so-called neutral site. And that's what we're trying to do. And in the playoff picture that we have now, we have to play good competition outside of the league. And playing a team like Wisconsin is a quality opponent that will help us hopefully in the playoff picture.
Well, I don't think there's any question but that it is something that the fans really look forward to. I know all three of my kids are flying in. We're going to fly up there and we're going to spend 3 days in the area. We're going to have a really nice time. So we're going to really help the economy around Green Bay, right? Because the LSU Nation travels very well. What kind of response do you get from other athletic directors about how well your fans travel?
Most of them are amazed. You know, most of them are amazed. I think the people in Wisconsin will be amazed at how many purple and gold fans they see up there. We got 25,000 tickets. We sold them no problem. I anticipate at least 30,000 people that'll be in there because people will go and get tickets from other sources. Yeah. There'll be a lot of purple and gold in Lambeau Field.
I think Lambeau will be as loud as it has been in a long time with the Tiger Nation there. We got about a minute and a half left here, a little less than that. So let's talk about this. We've had great success. I mean, if you think about the programs in LSU athletics overall, certainly there are ones you are working to improve constantly and working with those staffs. But here's the big question. How do you sustain it going forward? That's something that has to keep you up at night, right?
Yeah, it does, but it's all about people. You know, if you have good facilities and you have a great school, what happens then is you got to have the right people in place. And I think right now we have a terrific group of coaches, great staff. We have a great relationship with TAF, which is important in helping us with our facilities. So I just think that that's the key. And as long as you can keep bringing in quality student athletes, then you can sustain that winning attitude.
Right. It really is a combination of having the right people on the bus, right, in terms of your coaching and your staff, and really a lot of the behind-the-scenes folks. And then bringing in the best student athletes that you can find. Listen, man, we look forward to another great football season. We look forward to the success of all of LSU athletics, and we're really grateful for your time, Joe.
It's my pleasure to be with you again. Great to be with you.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. That's a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next week at this very same time for another edition of the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Hey guys, be sure to check out our new LBIS website, www.louisianabusinessandindustryshow.com.